Hello, howdy everybody. It's Prayin'N'Squatchin. I'm here with Wendell Burroughs. We're waiting on Dale Bullock. He should be along any time. God bless everybody. Thank you for watching or watching on the replay. Thank you for being here, Wendell.
Good to be here.
Yep. Like I said, I think I've got most of my internet connection problems fixed. Hopefully we'll have a good show tonight and everything will run semi-smooth anyway. So, I figured we'd let you and Dale do most of the talking tonight because y'all have had more activity lately than I have. If you just want to start, when Dale gets here, he can jump in with you. Or...
All right. I just want to catch everybody up on the last investigation we had at OR. It's the old sports. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. We had when we first got there, tracks and road, and it was kind of hard surface. They had to be pretty fresh. We were setting up camp there. There's an extra that's close to camp. Go up there and check it. Every time we go up there, it will get. Well, all around it had like gazebo built without the roof. Just trees that all around it. The eggs. Right in the middle, there's a place over you can sit down. That was neat.
Mm-hmm. So almost like a amphitheater or something like that?
Yeah.
With a stage in the middle or something?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And it was probably 75 feet, 60 to 70.
Yeah. That's one of the things I can't imagine everything just falling naturally. It just so happened to form, like you said, a gazebo or an amphitheater. That's just...
Amphitheater.
Yeah.
Why they would use something, I don't know.
Yeah. Where you was at, is there any chance it was human done, or?
Now, humans go in there, but usually just hunting seasons, and very rarely at that point. Other back areas, and that we went on later. To be Sunday. I don't think there's been anybody there for years because the road stops and wagon trail, actual wagon run.
Mm-hmm.
So, but a lot of these trees that was pushed down in there or drug up was 8 to 10 inches through. Full long tree. The person ain't gonna do that unless they have it in there and done.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see all that from the road. So there wasn't no damage back there. So it had to be physically by something. If it was people, it had to be 20 people moving trees.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's usually the case. You find tree breaks and tree bends and stuff like that. Common sense just tells you didn't no person do this. Just like the twist, I don't think there's too many people on Earth that can twist, like you said, a 6 or 8 inch tree limb or branch or even trunks and twist them and break them. That's gorilla or it's above human strength.
Right, right.
So, y'all set up camp there that night, or?
Yeah, that night. It was probably I don't know, hour and a half after we started setting up camp down the hill. That structure.
Yeah. I'm answering Dale. He just messaged me here.
Oh yeah.
In the group message. I think I might just pull my charger out of the wall too, but that's okay. No, I didn't. I told him to jump in whenever he was ready. What's that?
I was asking the devil how to get on there.
He said his signal bottomed out like mine did, but he ain't said anything else yet.
I don't know.
So did you want to go ahead and talk about what happened that night, or wait for him, or?
We can. Talk about it, but I mean, involved in a lot of it.
That's fine. We can wait a few more minutes. Say it's starting to rain there.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get it, I think, later tonight or tomorrow.
As soon as you went live, it went to rain.
Now, if you ask certain researchers about that, they tell you that the elements are conspiring against me.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm sure you know the ones I'm talking about would swear up and down the Sasquatch made it rain to knock my podcast off the air.
Yeah.
To each their own. I mean, I can't tell them they're wrong, but I think I just live in the boondocks and it don't take much to knock my podcast off the air to begin with.
Right.
But all jokes aside, you know, David Pilates talks all the time about when these people go missing, they'll have sudden changes in weather and stuff like that. That's one of his talking points about that.
Well, they definitely know better than we would when the weather patterns. We know a lot of it, but just your body ache.
Mm-hmm. Anything that lives in it 24/7 is going to be able to predict it better than somebody that depends on their kneecap or elbow to start hurting.
Yep.
Dale never has said any more. Wait a minute. Oh, there's a thumbs up. He might be on his way. I do notice it seems like you have more activity in the more moderate spring and fall. You don't see as much during the summer and winter. Kind of the in-between seasons.
Yeah, that's why we do our investigation and or in early spring, and then we're fixing to go to Sylamore National, and it's always good. Middle of spring, up, and then after that they move out of that. That's why you seen that they actually move.
I know here it seems like. Oh, go ahead.
I said I don't know why they come there in the spring, but they do.
Well, I've always said it could be just like us with a favorite fishing hole.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be some food source or water source, or it could be something completely different that we wouldn't even think about.
Right.
Maybe they just like the scenery.
It may be. But at that time of the year, you right stuff, fresh vegetation, just starting to bloom out. Might be something that they like. One of the deals there in the cinema there, full of dogwood trees. Anything over dogwood tree starting to bloom,
Mm-hmm.
So that might have something to do.
Makes as much sense as anything to me. I mean, they got a pleasant bloom to them, so.
Yeah.
And considering we suspect that Sasquatch is omnivores, they eat plants, and did something just pass in front of your screen?
Something did. That's what I was looking at.
That, I guess anybody watching later will be able to see that. That was weird. Looked almost like a cat's tail or something.
Yeah, but they ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing there.
At least we both saw it.
I don't know what it was.
That made me completely lose my train of thought. I don't even know what I was. Oh, them eating plants and such being part of their diet. Who knows? Maybe dogwood blooms are part of their diet.
Maybe.
I don't know if dogwood blooms have any nutritional value, but
that's be something to check about. I wouldn't even thought we hadn't been talking about it.
Yep.
Well, I guess Dale ain't gonna make it again. If you want, I can go ahead and start filling in what happened after. Like I said, we camped below that X structure. It's probably 100 yards below it down the hill. Down by you can tell it's an old camping area, and that's where we've been camping at several investigations now. And right above, below that's a waterfall, and all that area is full of caves. I say caves, they're about 8 foot deep, and you find all kinds of tracks and everything around these caves. So that's where we always camp, and it's the front part of area 2. And when we got there and got set up that evening, we went down and checked the cave. What is that? Something keeps passing in front of the screen or camera, but I don't see nothing. Anyway, we go down and check the caves. And there's a cave that we was planning this whole investigation around. And as we went to the cave, we got down. And the last investigation, and on this investigation, we went back to the cave. Hey, Dale's here.
There's Dale.
Maybe.
We got visual. I don't know if we got audio. Looks like he froze up.
He's starting to move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finally, I had a 5-minute Ethernet cable. I couldn't get enough signal power to get on.
Huh. I've been having the same problem off and on.
No.
Well, it's nice to have you here. God bless you. Thank you for coming on.
I still can't see y'all. Though.
Can't see us? He froze up again, I think.
I bet it's got something to do.
Something to do with what?
With it raining. He lives right at the bottom foot of a mountain.
That's all right. You can go on what you were saying. Maybe you'll pop back in there in a minute.
I was just saying, we on our investigation last one down in the cave, and it looked real promising. We're in the area that been hit was infant sound. We had visually on the night saw an image that looked huge, like a Bigfoot or a person. Go off there and go through a cave with that. So it either went in there or went anyway. Dale and us all got up there to investigate it. And inside that cave, there'd been either a fall in or something had placed rocks that we could get to. So during after that, we said to John and Seth, boys, down to the creek to investigate, go further the next day that way, or go to the back side of there. So they went on down and got the candidate for the night investigation. And
Hey, Wendell.
Yeah.
Scarsboro Sasquatch Station said echo. Turn off the YouTube. Do you have YouTube open?
Don't think I still
I don't. I've only got this window open.
No.
Bad echo, he said. It ain't as bad as it comes and goes. I don't know.
I know. It's my surround sound.
I don't hear it that bad right now.
What about now?
Sounds okay to me. You ain't quite as loud, but I can hear you.
Right, I turned the sound down. Maybe that'll help.
You're clear to me.
Okay.
Is that any better with Scarsboro? He said it was your side that was causing the echo. Did what he did there help any?
It probably is.
Yeah. He said that's better.
Yeah.
Good to have you there, Scarsboro.
Yeah. You got any questions?
I think he just jumped in. He might have missed the first part where he was talking about the amphitheater-like structure and all that.
He might have. I wish there's some way there's some picture of that. They go pay it on the Arkansas people where they're posted on. It's awesome. It's not just the egg. Only fine. It's just there, like we're saying. Placed or pushed all. They make a complete circle. So the bottom of one tree is at the top of the next tree. Going all the way around back. And that's the only trees around. That's image. You admit there's placed in there.
Huh. Dale was trying to get back in there, but it said his camera or microphone wasn't connected. And I couldn't add him to the screen. You can go ahead and keep talking. I'll let him know.
All right. Hello, Scarborough. Good to have you on the message deal. But anyway, later that night, after we all regrouped, we went on a night fishing. And soon as we left out investigation, we worked. And Sean and Seth was kind of gung-ho. They left out on their own. And down there, and we call it the waterfall area, which is 2 mountains and a valley there. About I'd say a mile and a half. But anyway, they got all. Like I said, they running and making the noise and we're growling and everything. At this point, I don't get sucked into them. What they hey, Sam Don said he was in the gate, but had never run in till then. When they run at this area where they heard it, all of a sudden growl, trees shake, and at about the same time, yeah. And so they ended up back to back by a tree. Every little bit rock at them. And luckily they had to work. The batteries in it kept. I don't know why they're flat. Anyway, the flashlight went. We ended up playing and Dale. I believe it was the one who got them. But anyway, where they was by the he got them out of there. And that was a very situation.
I can imagine.
Got a question.
Scarsborough asks, do you think the Sasquatch use small animals for companions? I guess that depends on what you mean by companion.
Yeah.
I've read reports supposedly of them running with coyotes.
Sometimes totally enemy. That's strange, but I guess the same way with us. Yeah, friends. I believe they do. I've had several. One lady was saying her little dogs. She let them out at night, and then they wouldn't come back. And everyone, I said, "Well, that ain't strange." Well, I went up there, and she said, "Yeah, but there's huge tracks everywhere around there." So it's north of Clinton here, and we went up there and did an investigation, and ended up we just made big circles around her property, and the little dogs, we found them at a cave, and they was at that cave, and they was bones and everything, but it was up on a cliff shelf in that. So whatever, they was either sitting there to smell them bones all the time and wasn't leaving them, or they was friends with something in there and it was feeding them too. So from what we saw there, that's what we believe, that it was feeding the dogs. So, but I've heard other stories and stuff, so I believe that sometimes they do have other animals as friends. Done lost Barry now. So anyway, I'll get back to the story and what all happened on the encounter. We got everybody back to camp Saturday night, and it was late at night, probably 12:30 to 1, and about 3 or 4 people out of the group had got tired and they went to sleep in their trucks or vehicles. It was me, Dale, Sean, and Seth around the fire. Marcus was in his tent. And during that night, we had all kinds of different calls, whoops. They'd move in, move out. But 3 in the morning, we had it's a different call. Now we've kind of reached it, and it's a lot. But it starts out and just and that went on a good 2 minutes. So and not enough that yes, and he pulled up. That was the vehicle. Both market. I don't know what it was. Definite. But after that, everything all picked up. Probably 4 that's when the went down with their car on down to the turnarounds. They had night. That's pretty cool. Guy named Neil. But it was used. Oh. Got another question.
That's all right. I just put it up there. You can finish. I'm gonna try to add Dale again.
Anyway, they went on down to the area, and this group that was kind of fell. I said this around morning. Well, I don't know. 5 getting daylight. Sean back there and him got out. Kind of woke me up. What's going on? We just parked down there and they was parked down with orders trying to get me but we was asleep. Both doors shut. And they both set up to each other and asked you kind of felt they come up off the wall. They peeked the lights on. What I could see on the side of the car was a hairy back. And that's when they cranked the car and took off and come up there where we was at. And they left after that morning, So I don't know if they'll be back or not. I hope they do because I mean they're good, just like Marcus is and my other teammate Matthew. If you need them to go somewhere, they're ready to go. They don't matter what cliff. They ain't old and fat like me and Clint and even Dale is. It's good to have somebody that's younger and more mobile. Oh, we lost Barry. It says, the question is, seen in a YouTube video, Sasquatch used an armadillo to fetch food from the humans, then return the food back to the Sasquatch. I hadn't saw that in any evidence. I wouldn't. I don't know how trainable an armadillo is, but as far as using anything to their advantage, I'd say yes, they're definitely smart enough to do that. And I know dogs and cats can be used to do that. So bring anything back. And I'm sure I'm sure Sasquatch can. I know dogs retrieve dogs and stuff. And at Mountain, we've carried the guy there the actually killed for the Sasquatch sleeve and then it happened once or twice a week. So either the Sasquatch or the cow and then go or the cow one or the other.
I was going to ask a question. The car that those two fellas was in, what size vehicle was it? We talking a sedan or something?
One of them tow cars. We call them the hamster. And the commercial.
Smaller vehicle.
Yeah, it's a small vehicle. Yeah, if you can roll the whole but it just leant back, junking. We was actually worried that we was going to have to pull them in or the car was small to get in. They made it.
Yeah. I was just curious. I mean, even a small car like that, I mean, it takes a fair amount of strength to shove it, move it like that. Mm-hmm. And they said they saw something with a hairy back.
Yeah, that's all they said. They looked to the driver's side. No, it was passenger side. Passenger side. The rear. Yes. That they got. When they stopped there, you see the white dog. Like it's a road. Like I said, it into the area they got we always gonna have one of the out, but
I'm still working with Dale trying to get him connected here. Says they will need to connect their mic or cam before you can add them to the stream. Scarsboro asks, do Sasquatch accept there is a God? I like to think they do. I mean, you'd have to ask one of them to know for sure.
Yeah, but it goes back to the debate. If they're just an eight up here, not. My interpretation, I would say they know that there's a God.
Mm-hmm.
So those interpretations, I believe they are. That's first opinion.
I'm trying to work. I was going to try something here with a pair of headphones, see if that helps any with the echo. Give me just a second.
It's probably me. I didn't headphone. I don't know where they're at.
I don't know, but whatever that was just went in front of your screen again. Up in what would be your... Let's see. If it's my right, it would be your left-hand corner up above you. Something black. I saw it again.
Ain't nothing there.
I mean, it looked almost like a bird's wing or something this time.
Now it may be there. It's over about a stove over there. Flying around, but it's in from him. It might swim down here, and that'd be the only thing.
Like I said, I saw it again, whatever it was, while you was talking, and I was fiddling with my ear buds. Scarsborough says, yes, I think they do accept there's a higher power of God. Like Wendell says, I believe anything with a soul, a spirit, knows about God on some level. And this is where I kind of differentiate even from a lot of Christians. I believe animals have souls. Dogs, cats, birds, fish, deer. I believe in their own way they know they were created just like we do. So in my mind, the Sasquatch, which is more intelligent than the smartest ape walking the planet, would almost have to know, be aware.
Yeah, I would agree.
And like I said, my opinion and what I think, and $10 order along down at the drive-through, so that's how much what I think matters. But
$10 sure won't buy it. $10 sure won't buy it.
Get you number 3, you just won't get it right.
Yeah. What's your gas price? Went up 80 cents.
We are $3.69. It went from about $3.29.
309 now it's 380 now. That's crazy.
I hate to say it, but I saw on Facebook, I think it was, speculation it could be $7 a gallon before summer's over.
Now that's going to put an
Yeah, as a delivery driver, that's going to put a big kink in my plans. I also saw, I think it might have been Dale or Don Peak one that put this one on Facebook, said, I support the pipeline. My truck don't run on fairy dust and unicorn farts.
No. That's why. It's a problem. Normally this is our late to fall anyway. We thought about having one somewhere around 5. Fuel prices that high. Normally investigation when they just normal prices right at if you get there and back.
Mm-hmm.
So the 19th of March here, they're paying $105 when he goes doing like you just can't afford it. So.
No, I mean, and diesel is more expensive than, he said, good Lord. It's crazy we're pouring close to $8 a gallon here in Canada. Why you say it, but we may not be far behind you.
I hope not. Man,
Did the whole trucker situation up there in Canada help at all, or was that just like a more show than anything when they shut the border down and all that? Did they actually accomplish anything, or? Give him a chance to answer us there. There it went again, whatever it was, Wendell. It came from the direction I'm facing, the left-hand corner, downward towards the right-hand bottom corner. Just like a shadow or a...
I don't know.
Hey, Scarsborough, are you seeing something black go across Wendell's screen? We both saw it once earlier, and I've seen it twice now.
I saw it the first time. But there ain't no way that up there and back to there.
There was my answer to the question about the truckers. Scarsborough said he hadn't seen it yet, but he'll look. Now, I just saw... Maybe I'm losing my mind. I don't know. But I just saw... Have you ever seen the pictures of what people call rods? The blue, glowy, giant, whatever they're supposed to be? I don't know if you've ever heard of that or not.
I never heard of that.
It falls kind of somewhere in between cryptids, UFOs, and supernatural. And like most people, I think a lot of what people are taking pictures of are insects, just where they move so fast, they look like a big glowy, blurry thing.
Right.
Well, I just saw one of those go in front of your camera.
I don't know.
Well, if nothing else, I'm going to try a different set of earbud plugs here, see if this works any better. I don't think the cord's going to be long enough on them. I'll have to sit right on top. There we go, maybe.
And Dale couldn't get on the speaker or mic.
Say something.
Okay. How's that?
Well, I'm still hearing you through the computer, so that answers that question. Either the buds or the port one's no good. Well, that answers that question too. Scarsborough said he has yet to see the shadow, so apparently I'm just crazy.
I saw it the first time.
I think Dale just messaged me again. Hang on just a second.
Maybe
He says they've got a large thunderstorm moving in.
Maybe that's what's making it. I'm only like 18 miles. But anyway, back to the kitchen, I guess. After that next morning, they out. We all went to the back side of the spots we ended up going over there because it's a mile and a half, 2 miles to get just the start of it. Hills four-wheel drive.
Yep, we lost his audio for a second. There it is. Maybe.
Yeah, am I back on? Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear me? Hello? Get out. We got the spot that's coming through the rocks. Rocks slipping off the mountain. We got out, and the help got it up the top. When we got up there, we went to the right, and investigated. We headed south. A new area that's all line and everything. Found a lot of pines, and I started off at bluff line, while Neil and Dale stayed at the top. Well, all the way down that bluff line, I put pictures of areas that we investigate next time we go there. But we got to a point. I was either going to have to back up the bluff where they were at, or go to the bottom. So it was a lot easier to go to the bottom. I was going to walk down the creek, which that put me to being by myself area. But I had the radio for communication, but they didn't have theirs. I didn't realize that. I got on the bottom of the cliffside, and while I was walking down, I picked a woo. And before that, I'd heard growls. Weird. And I got to look around. I heard there was one I say that's local. They either letting them know where I was, or they was letting each other know that. Anyway, I made my way out to where the hill was at. And he let me know that Dale went on down the road and was crossed the creek. But that's a half a mile from where I was at. I went on with them, and we investigated a new area there that, like I was telling you, it's just wagon tracks in there. Other side of this creek.
Mm-hmm.
So from the main road to there is 3 miles back to there. And I don't think there's been anything in there in over 100 years, but we're calling that the Castle Rock area, and the area that Seth and them found on down from the camping area, we're calling that the Deadwood area because there's trees in there that you can tell has been burned at one time, but there's just chunks and claw marks taken out of these trees all around. So, and it's my head height where it's at, and I'm 6'5", so it's either only 2 things you could do at that high is either a huge bear or a Sasquatch. So we didn't see no bear tracks either. So I kind of rule that out. I say that's one of the areas that Sasquatch is actually pulling that bark off there to eat the beetles and grubs that's under it. But that's more we're going to research on the this fall 2022 or spring 23 investigation back at OR. We lost Barry again. I don't know if this is recording while he's out or not. It shows that it is, so it's all interesting stuff. I was hoping Dale would have been on here to I mean, he was in a lot of areas that I wasn't and got to see stuff and things that were going on. So, but unfortunately his internet hadn't worked, and maybe after the one on the 19th and 20th of this month in March that I can have him over here to the office, and maybe Marcus can be here and some of the other ones of the group, and you can hear more from them than me. Hoping that end of the month, that you can have 3 or 4 people here at the office and do it on the internet.
Yeah.
Or one. I don't know, location.
I missed the biggest part of that because my signal dropped out. Dale is still trying to join us. At least we got past the device not connected. He's trying to come in here. It might let him in a minute. I don't know. I was going to ask you, back to the cave. Is that the same cave y'all found that had the drawings in it?
Yeah. That's the same one. Just a few of the drawings right in front of it. The rest of it was bolted or plate from the inside. But it was too big to move, so I couldn't tell whether it just fell in or that place, but you could only go like the input now.
Yeah. There's Dale. Can you hear us, Dale? Can you hear us or see us?
I was telling them while you dropped out the things that happened on the Sunday. We found that wagon track there was there. We don't pay for 100 years. But it's about 3 miles from the main road into the national forest. That's what we're calling. That's what we're going to investigate either this fall or next month. But Seth and John is kind of area where there's a big long rock pit, and at some point they've been a wildfire. Burned. Head high on all these trees where they've been pulling the bark off, eating the bark off, because you can see the lines that's in the trees and everything to where they pulled it off. So there's only two things that's going to make any claw marks that high. It's either a big bear or it's a Sasquatch, because I mean it's like a hand grabbed it, and pulled it down. So we're going to check that out too. And we've looked around there, and Dale's our expert tracker. Any air tractor, Sasquatch tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And strange enough, this is first time that we've looked everywhere. They had any deer tracks in this area, but there was this time. We've been there 2 years, find any. So that's odd. So either something's pushed them back into that area, or at some point the Sasquatch is left off deer feel confident come back there. That may be one of the Sasquatch if they're following the deer population.
Huh. I think I mentioned I've had periods like that before where just wildlife seems to completely disappear from this area. I mean, you're lucky if you see a rabbit or a squirrel, let alone a deer or anything else. And usually when that happens, I guess due to food supply, the Sasquatches leave as well. And then gradually I'm trying to think of the right word, ecosystem rights itself or something.
Right.
And then your activity will pick back up. Scarsboro says, strange, I was having problems with my StreamYard last night. The guest had two screens, one for visual and the other for audio. He said the same things. He has areas where he hardly sees any wildlife at all anymore.
Well, that was strange. The first 2 years we see it from deer trap in the area.
Now here lately, I've been getting plenty of deer on the trail cams. Not a lot of big ones, a lot of young ones, and doe. I've only got 1 or 2 bucks, which I guess might be all it takes to keep the wheel turning, so to speak. But
right.
Well, Dale tried to come in there again and drop back out. We had him. Could you see him?
Yeah.
I had him on screen there for a minute, but he was froze, I think.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder if the problem just ain't StreamYard, if I don't need to find some other way to do this. Because I've heard other people, I know Steve Brooks and Don Peake been trying to do one live in their group, and they've had a lot of trouble. Which I don't know if they use StreamYard or not, but
I don't know. Neil, the guy that I was talking about there that does a lot of our research there in OR, we're working on a deal that we may do a podcast called The Seekers, and it may start in April. It just depends on his work schedule and what we do, but don't know how that'll go. We was planning on using StreamYard, but I don't know if it's having a lot of trouble. We may find a different platform. Yeah, that's another thing. You're talking about the songbirds there, and hadn't seen no possums in that area too that we're talking about. Now you can go 5-10 miles up the road to where the actual Turner's Bend area is, and there's a lot of possums and raccoons and everything, but the birds there hit on the nerve. While we're there in Area 2, you never hear any bird calls or anything. It's eerie quiet. And it's like the woods ain't alive. There's no squirrels jumping around. Like around here, you can walk through the woods and you're going to run into a squirrel. I mean, it's going to be jumping from tree to tree, or there are birds. You're going to jump something up. You can go through Area 2 and you don't jump nothing up Area 2. There's no birds, no sound. Just look at it's dead wood. No everything. But there ain't no animal.
What kind of plays back into the periods you'll have even when there is wildlife around, and all of a sudden, sometimes even in broad daylight, everything just goes dead silent. And I have one guy, a friend of mine, and he shed hunts. He goes in deep territory, shed hunting, looking for deer antler sheds. And he said he was out there one afternoon, late, right around sundown. He said, I heard this roar. He said, I've never heard anything before like it in my life. Never heard anything since it like it in my life. He said, it seemed like even the wind stopped after this thing sounded off. He said, I packed my stuff. He said, I don't know what it was. I packed my stuff and got out of there. I mean, that's about the best I've heard it described. Even the wind stopped. He says, Scout's Road says, the woods are getting silent not due to Sasquatch unless they are eating everything inside. Well, I've thought about that with these dead periods where it seems like everything just disappears and then comes back. A creature as big as Sasquatch would require a calorie intake that's just out of this world. That's why I suspect they eat everything under the sun, from plants to grubs and insects, right on up to deer, possum, squirrels, and pretty much whatever they can catch. And I believe they could almost eat everything in sight and kind of wipe an area out, and that's why they kind of meander. Yeah, not necessarily migrate, but goes back to the fishing whole thing. You fish this spot out, you ain't getting no bites. You start to motor up and move the boat a mile or two up the river, try it again.
Yep.
Give it a month or two, then you go back to your original spot. Or might even have to give it a year or two. What's that?
I think they do that quite often, during the year. And it depends on conditions. Maybe more, say if there happens to be a drought or if it's flooding or something, that affects it too.
Are you there?
Meander around or something, that affects it too. But I think meander around quite often. But that's right too. Unless they're eating everything inside, I think they pretty much anything could be a food source to them if they're hungry enough.
Are you there?
Yeah.
I dropped out again, or you did one. Your audio started acting up, and then my signal dropped. You was answering about the whole ecosystem, them moving from area to area.
Yeah, I believe they do. Depends on what's the condition. Food goes up for if you ain't getting food. And he says, unless they eat everything, pretty much everything it's edible.
Yeah.
And that's even down to leaf. One thing, if Dale was here at this place, and now it's just piles of been opened up, ate this hell out of it. So I'm pretty sure food source snails.
Scarsborough says, is the Sasquatch population growing exponentially out of control? Maybe less people are hunting these days, or more room for the Sasquatch to roam. Well, you're definitely right about there's fewer people hunting. The younger generation in particular just, they don't do anything outdoors, let alone hunt. But I don't know that there's more room for them to roam, because at the same time we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing as far as suburbs and taking more and more of their habitat away from them.
I think there's certain areas that are much population, and the habitation in areas is actually shrinking down or lease land. Since the population is growing in a lot of areas, you're having more encounters, because they're leaving off the edge of these spaces that they go to live or stay, and they're actually raiding dumpsters or doing all sorts of stuff. Pet populations, I believe, is affected. It wasn't this year, but last spring, we had an area all through here. It's a 10-mile area that people is calling me here along the Catherine Creek, that dogs was coming up gone, and never anybody had any solution to it. In these same areas that people had dogs come up missing, we'd go there and find tracks. I didn't find no specifics that, hey, a Sasquatch got your dog, but I mean, it just common over and over. So, and that was right after the big snow we had. Not this year, we had ice and stuff, but it wasn't nothing like last spring was. We had everywhere 11, 12. Well, it was freezing all the way down in Texas, 9 degrees. So it's hard to find a food source when it's 9 degrees for a high and stuff like that. So a long story short, yes, I think populations are growing in certain areas. I think that you're having more encounters because of that population growing, and your overall territory is shrinking because of our population. Everybody's moving into all these spots, and it's pushing them to national forests and private lease land, and they're just coming out of there when they need something. It says, thank you, it worked.
Yeah, he asked me to mute my mic while you were talking, see if that would kill the echo. He said it worked. I just got to remember to unmute myself when I want to answer you. I agree with the part about there's more interaction because we're encroaching more and more on their territory. And I've always said I think one of the biggest misconceptions is you have to go 30 miles up in the middle of the mountains or the woods, completely off the map out in the middle of nowhere, to run into a Sasquatch. Where if you read reports and stuff, most encounters probably happen within a mile of a road. Yep. Whether it be a roadside crossing or a camper or hunter or fisherman. Because most hunters, even that I know, go a mile or two off the road. They're not 10 miles deep in the woods. Now, some hardcore hunters and fishermen might, but for the most part, they're within a mile or two of if not a major road, at least a rural road.
Right.
So I don't think you have to go to necessarily a secluded or remote location to have an interaction. You probably have to be rural. I don't think you're going to run into too much still in the suburbs, so to speak.
Not very often.
Although I have heard a few reports where they were right on the edges of suburbs.
Yeah. the tickers and all that is where they'll travel on them, or if they're around any kind of creek, they use them as their highway. So if you're in an area, it could be populated all around it, but along the creek, there ain't nobody around there. They're going to use that as a highway and travel through. And same with the power line right of ways, because you only see a glimpse of it. It might be through the trees in this neighborhood, but that's where they'll be till dark time, and then they'll find a way to move on through. So it just depends what you're around, if you have sightings or if you have any encounters.
I got to remember to hit that unmute. Well, the holler, as I call it, bottom of the holler where I tell you I hear most of my vocals coming out of, there's a creek that runs right through it. There's a lake at the end of that creek. And there's power lines running through that valley and that holler. And I mean, that holler part of it, now that is where you're 6-8 miles off the road. And like you said, there probably hadn't been too many, if any, people back in there in 50 years. So I agree with the power cuts, power lines, and water. I think that's pretty much most researchers or enthusiasts I talk to agree with the water. Follow the water. If you follow the water, you're following the Sasquatch, because just like their food supply, they would need a tremendous amount of water just on a daily basis just to drink and survive. I mean, we're talking creatures, on average get reported 8 to 10 foot tall, 600 to 1,000 pounds. That takes a lot of water and a lot of food to keep that body moving. It goes back to the whole eat and drink everything they come across.
Yep.
Says, yes, the highway roads are right beside lakes. And this goes back to another thing. I don't remember who posted this in one of the groups. It said if more people would just pay attention and watch the tree lines and stuff when they're driving down the road. Now, I've got the advantage of being a delivery driver. I'm out day and night. I'm constantly scanning the sides of the road. And every now and then I'll set my phone up I got a dash cam mount. I'll put it up there, turn it on, and bring it home and go back just in case there's something I missed.
Right.
It might have been Barry Webster that posted that, or it might have been Hal Lane. I don't know. Somebody made that point. If people would just pay more attention, and it goes back to something a UFO investigator once said, if more people would just look up, you'd have more sightings. Same way with the tree line, or even in an open field. Who knows how many times, these things would be crossing an open field right next to a major interstate, and 9 out of 10 people got that tunnel vision when they drive. If it ain't directly in front of them, they don't see it. Yep. And then some people are texting or reading a book or doing their makeup or whatever. It could be right in front of them and they still wouldn't see it. So, if people would just pay more attention.
On top of that, unless they're moving, a lot of times your mind sees them as something else because they're bent down in there, and then that's a giant tree stump, or that's a dirt pile or brush pile there, and your mind just focuses on well, that's what it was. Unless you was to stop and actually focus in on it and see it move, I think the majority of the stuff, that's what happened. People just their mind tricks them, and that ain't nothing.
Well, that goes back to, everybody talks about cloaking and disappearing or phasing in and out, which I've always said I'm not going to say it's impossible, but until I see one do it, I don't really think they cloak or. But like you said, they could be such a natural master of camouflage if they just stand still or hunker down. Like you said, they blend right in. You look at them, you think they're a dirt pile or a hay bale or tree stump or whatever. You look right at them and don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And just like you said, the average person that maybe don't quite believe in Sasquatch could look right at one and their mind, that's a bear. Just a weird looking bear. Because I know we all listen to Sasquatch Chronicles, and Wes talks about that all the time. You know, he gets all these reports. I saw the funniest looking bear. Well, it wasn't a bear.
Yep, it's all misidentified.
And that's like, last summer we had a lady, the major highway, US 27, runs right through Harrison County. This woman swore she saw a bear crossing a field down from her house. Well, this field's right along the major highway there, and there's other houses around her. Nobody else ever saw this bear. All the hunters around this area that's got trail cams out, no bear. Nobody ever reported tracks, scat, nothing. This one poor lady swears she saw a bear. And I kind of got to thinking one day, I was like, you know, every time somebody sees a Sasquatch, everybody tries to tell them it's a bear. So what if sometimes when people see a bear, they're not really seeing a bear, they're seeing a Sasquatch and just assume it's a bear? Because like I said, to a non-believer, unless
Well, we lost Barry again. Having trouble with his internet signal. Probably dropped out again. But
there we go. I
it
think
is.
I've figured out another trick. When I start to see my signal spin, buffer, whatever you want to call it, if I hit disconnect and reconnect quick enough, it seems to straighten it out. I just got to be quick on the trigger when it starts doing it.
Right.
But like I said before, you know, the skeptics and the non-believers, some of them, Sasquatch could walk up, knock on the door and ask them for a cup of sugar, and they'd still swear Bigfoot doesn't exist. It's almost like, it's not that they don't believe, it's either they won't or they can't. And I'm not sure why that is like that for certain people, if it's just such a paradigm shift, or if it just rocks their world to such an extent that they just literally cannot cope with it, or what. And I'll mute myself and let you answer me.
I finally seen that come across the screen again there. Yeah, I have. My wife was and Dale's wife's a non-believer, really. But until my wife recently started going with us on these investigations and hearing this stuff at night, and got the big question, what is that? I mean, she's actually heard it herself for once, you know, not me playing a video or telling about it or something. Once you have a first-hand encounter or you hear that stuff, you know that something made it. It ain't a figment of your imagination. And now she says, I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something out there. So he says, I personally believe there's 20% of the population simply cannot see such.
I'm not sure.
I agree with that.
I'm not sure what you mean by simply cannot see them. Is that going back to the certain people more in tune or have some kind of gift.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. They're physically like their phased out or something. I agree with that. Even if they saw us, like,
I'll agree with that. That goes back to, like I said, some people, you can walk up and knock on their door and they're not going to admit it. Yeah, there's that certain, like I said, I call them the militant non-believers or militant. They're the ones that, I didn't mean to click it, go away. They're the ones that Sasquatch simply cannot exist.
Right.
A couple groups that lean more towards the skeptic side of things. I mean, some of the members, like I said, it's almost, and I'm not trying to insult them or anything, it's just, that's a pretty good way. Their minds are conditioned to not see. That's as good a way of putting it as any, Scarborough.
Yeah.
I was going to say they can't wrap their heads around it. And I met atheists the same way. They can't tell you why they don't believe, but they simply, by damn, will not believe.
Right.
Like I said, both cases mystifies me. I mean, how you can believe in absolutely nothing. I mean, it ain't the same. I mean, it's one thing if you don't believe in Bigfoot. If you don't believe in God, that's a whole different ball of wax. But
right.
It's not the same, but it is. It's just like, how? I don't even know where to go with that. I mean, sorry, many times in photos, no matter what, they can't see the Sasquatch in the photos. Now that's a little bit different, because I've had people show me, and I ain't going to mention any names, Sasquatches in my photos and my videos that I didn't see when I was there. So, I mean, people say it's pareidolia or pareidolia or however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And that's almost an unknown subject to itself, because you look it up, it's just a term. It's a mind's ability to form images where there are none or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's like all you can find on it. It's like there's no actual study into it of how the mind does that or why the mind does that. There's just that definition. The mind does it. Take our word for it. Nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah.
So that's almost a case of you're using one mystery to explain another mystery, which doesn't work. But like I said, I have seen photos where, I hate to say it, but it's a tree stump, folks. And people, they'll report something like, well, it's been there for 3 days. Well, if it's been there for 3 days and it ain't moved, it's not alive. I hate to say that, but no living creature is going to stand in the same spot for 3 days straight and not move a muscle for you to take a picture of it. And I ain't trying to be rude to anybody, but just common sense.
A lot of it, I get when you got bit. What in the world? I got a little bitty 50. What's them little bitty motorcycles that Honda used to make? 50s. Went down the road just then. Okay. But anyway, when you blow the photo up, I can kind of side with them. It's hard to tell what it is. Yeah, it might be. But like you're saying, if it's there 3 days later, it's not a Sasquatch. Go back if you can at all and refilm the area, take a picture, and that's once you do something like that, and then the different. Say, there was something.
Give me just a second. Bo Sivas is having a fit in the other room. You keep talking. I'm gonna go see what's going on.
Well, that's
What, buddy? What?
But a lot of times, the Sasquatch had his condition thing there that anytime we picture follow up of anything that's up, and that's just on purpose because it's just hard to see. We had a lot of photos of Sasquatch, but we show it because we don't have follow up video. But we've had moved like a big tree, swaying, and go back, and that's not there. So there was something all that was around back and forth. So.
Everything's okay.
It's just crazy stuff.
As is often the case, I looked around, I couldn't see or hear a thing. But that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And he's being a bloodhound, he's a pretty calm dog. So when he goes off like that, I get up and look around.
Yeah. They can smell and hear a lot.
Oh, yeah. 10 times, if not more, better than we can. I don't believe in the pareidolia, or however you say it. It's one person who invented this. Now, why not see elephants or moose, zebras? Exactly why a Sasquatch or maybe artificial intelligence is playing games with us. The way I understand it, it's just like some people. Okay, there it went. Did you see it that time?
I've seen it.
Something fell from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
You saw it too. Okay.
Yeah. That time I did.
What's that?
I said that time I seen it.
The whole pareidolia thing, way I understand, like people seeing stuff in clouds or their coffee or. I mean, I can't say it's not real. I can't say it is because Scarsborough said he saw it that time, Wendell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go check again. Bo Stevens is having an absolute hizzy. I don't know if y'all can hear him over the mic from in there or not.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm gonna look around again just in case. We might have to shut it down here in a minute. What is the matter?
Right. I don't know what that is. They think bugs. There he goes again.
You okay?
If made a circle above it, as a fly. That's what the image was. Flying and finally warm enough. That's funny. Finally, it made a fly.
I don't know what's going on. Sometimes he'll do like that if it's lightning outside. He'll see that lightning flashing. He'll carry on like that. But I've got one window right here next to me, and I haven't seen any yet.
I finally seen
He said, took a screenshot of shadow, almost looks like a person. Huh. It's just a shadow to me.
There's a fly at the end of the door. So I'm thinking it's the camera. And went back out the door. Seen a fly. Got warm.
A fly would kind of go with what I was talking about, what they call rods, the real blurry, bluish white looking.
Yeah.
Some kind of insect. There's Dale again. His device is still not connected. I figure we're getting close to an hour and a half. It's about time to shut it down for tonight anyway.
Yeah.
We've had a good... My internet's actually done better than it usually does.
Oh, yeah. It's been pretty... I don't know if mine's done better. I've been talking a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's been good talking to you. What you did get to share was interesting. We'll save some of the other for when Dale could be here to tell his part of it.
Right.
We'll have to do this again sometime in here in a week or two or something.
Yeah, by the end of the month, that's what I was saying on there earlier. After we have the next investigation, I'll try to get as many as I can here in the office to meet here. That way, you know, and we'll do it again. We'll do it earlier. I don't know if you heard. Starting a podcast. Because of the seekers.
1 second. Let me mute.
I was just saying that here in the end of March, after we have the next investigation, I'll try to get all at least 4 of the ones that's on the investigation here to the office and do the video or the podcast and let them tell what all happened this time from their point of view and what happens at the next investigation. And sometime in April or May, me and Neil is working on a project and we're wanting to start our podcast, and it's going to be called The Seekers. So that'd be something pretty good. I might get you to be a guest on there one night. Your mic's off, Barry.
I knew I was going to do that sooner or later. Me sitting here jacking my jaw to myself, but anyway.
Yeah.
The Seekers, just like the John Wayne movie, The Seekers.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's Dale. We might get him in here for a minute at the very end.
Maybe.
I don't know if it's going to let him or not. He's just buffing. Anyway, we'll have to let him know we're going to do it again sometime. We'll get him on here. Maybe when the weather, it might just be the weather. Not everything has to be a conspiracy. A lot of things probably are, but not everything has to be. Yeah, I'll definitely be glad to come on your project there sometime. That's no problem.
Awesome.
Well, it's been good having you. Like I said, we'll have to do it again when you can get the other guys in here and Dale. Everybody have a good one. God bless you. I'll kill the live section here and we can chat for a few more minutes if you want or whatever. Everybody have a good one. Good night and God bless.